Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sideline to Speedway. Here, our week, what are we in, 7 weeks edition? Jeez,
Week
feels
7.
like a long time we've been going at this. 7 weeks. Um, Nothing too much has changed here on our side of the things, but a lot has changed around the NFL since we first started, as well as college football. We'll get into that in a moment. But Parker, before we kind of get going here, I just want to ask you, do do you want to talk about the fact that there really wasn't much BTA this week?
There really wasn't. I mean, this is one of the most competitive NFL seasons we've seen in a long time. There's a lot of good football teams, a lot of bad football teams, but the difference is not that big. It feels like anybody can beat anybody right now, and so we really don't see a lot of BTAs, but we see a lot of competitive, good football, some bad football as well that we might get into today as well.
So yeah, I mean, with that, we kind of had to go a little bit off standard. We'll get to that later, but usually for BTA we have two score games, like more than two score games as BTA, but there's only one this week, so we have a surprise for you later on with that. But we'll continue to go along with our show here. So we'll go right to I want to go right to Sunday afternoon, right? Um, Seattle travel to Jacksonville. Uh, this is your team, obviously, so you'll know the best about this game. It was close on paper, but I need to ask you, was it actually as close as that shows, the 20-12 score where Seattle wins, or was it more of a
Um,
Seattle?
there were times early on it looked a little concerning for Seattle. They have a lot of injuries in the secondary, and so there was a couple busted coverages that allowed for Jacksonville to get a couple touchdowns. But ultimately, the storyline of the game for Seattle is 7 sacks, 33 pressures. If you put up those kinds of numbers with your pass rush, you're probably going to win most of the time, and that's exactly what happened. So on paper, it's close, but Jacksonville just could not protect Trevor Lawrence that day. It's the Seattle got insane pressure, and that won the game for them.
Since we're about 6 weeks through the season now, we can start to kind of tell who plays good against what kind of defenses and all of these types of more minute things rather than just who has the star power and all that stuff. I've noticed at least the Jacksonville Jaguars defenses that are able to really create a lot of pressure. Trevor Lawrence has not done as well against good pass coverage defenses. He's been able to at least keep himself competitive in these games, but whenever they get pressure in his face, Trevor Lawrence seems to face some sort of issues, and it's not always him particularly, but just the Jaguars' offense in as a whole unit. But Seattle takes another victory. What are they, 4-2? Correct me.
Four
Yeah,
and
four
two.
and two. So, just trailing the division lead. I think they're tied with it actually. So, um,
Three-way tie right now. It's
good for
crazy.
them. The Jaguars, they fall an extra game, but they're not terribly far behind the Colts, so they'll get back into it, I'm sure, eventually. So we continue to go through Sunday afternoon. Okay, we don't do like upsets or anything like that, but we would have almost had a moment in history if the Miami Dolphins had managed to pull off that upset against the Chargers. But the Chargers hang on 29-27, late field goal sends them into victory from Dicker the kicker. Uh, do you have any concerns about the Chargers, or do you just chalk all this up to the injuries that they have on the offensive line?
I do have concerns about the Chargers, and I think it's because of the injuries. The Chargers right now would have two extra losses if it weren't for Justin Herbert pulling late game heroics. We saw him make the big play in the Broncos game. We saw him make that big play to McConkey late in the game against the Dolphins to get them in field goal range and win the game. And so, if it weren't for Justin Herbert, you could argue the Chargers would be one of the worst teams in the league right now because the offensive line is not playing well. They're hurt. The defense has looked a little sketchy at times. Letting up 27 to the Dolphins is a little bit concerning, I must say. That's not great. That's not a great look for them. So I do have concerns about the Chargers. I don't. There was a time earlier in the season, just a couple weeks ago, where I would have considered them Super Bowl contenders. I don't think they're there anymore.
The Chargers are an interesting team because their defense isn't even bad, but the bad offenses are the teams that score a lot on them, which is weird. It's almost like they kind of take a week off and forget they have to play football, and then they go out on the football field, and then they let up like 30 points to a team that shouldn't be dropping 30 on their defense. And it's not like their defense is bad either. Like you look at their roster and you're like, man, this is a pretty decent defense. So no idea what that is. But Herbert, if you ever want career defining performances, games where he comes back and games where you think the game's over is a good start for those Herbert disbelievers. But Chargers win. They continue to lead the division. They're a game up right now, so good for them. I think they're a game up, or are they tied? I think they're tied actually. No, they're tied now. They're tied now.
Yeah.
So, um, that's good for them. Miami, of course, is just tanking. Um, Rams played against the Ravens in Baltimore. Um, okay, this game is such. I want to just say this game is such a like nothing burger game, and the only reason I say that is because look, we all know without Lamar, the Ravens are not competing for any sort of victory, right? Like we're all. I think that's become apparent. And so a game where they basically are just hoping and praying for the best and they lose by 14 looks really solid. And then you look at the Rams who have now lost Nakua for we don't know the timetable on that. It might only be a week, but we don't know. Um, that is a bad look for both teams, honestly, just because the Ravens defense is the only thing that played well in this game, which considering they were having a historically bad season says a lot about this game.
Yeah, I got to say, honestly, I think this game is a win for the Baltimore Ravens. As crazy as it sounds, I think it is a victory because the defense has been awful, right? There are whispers of Lamar coming back this weekend. As a matter of fact, I think it might be confirmed at this point that Lamar Jackson will be playing for the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. So if you get Lamar back, if you can get the defense a little healthier and get them playing better, the Ravens could be a Super Bowl contender again because we saw their defense was the reason they lost against the Chiefs, the Lions, the Bills. I mean, they're losing games single-handedly because of having a historically bad defense. So I honestly think the Ravens are moving in the right direction. It's looking much better than it was in games like the Texans game, where it was bad on all sides. And then with the Rams, they do pick up a good win, but I think it's a pretty disappointing win because going against that defense, you're hoping to put up more than 17, and along with that, you lose Puka Nacua early in the game. So it's just, you don't know when you're going to get him back. And how good can that offense be without Puka? I'm not sure. Stafford is a fantastic quarterback, but he's later in his career. He's going to have to put together some heroics to go without his number one receiver.
Devontae Adams is going to have some big weeks here, and we know he's getting a little older, so that is really going to be the centerpiece of that team. Him and Kyron Williams both. But yeah, Rams take another win. They're in that three-way tie for the NFC West. Baltimore falls to I think 1-5 now. As
Yeah, 1-5.
it's doable. We've seen a 1-6 team almost make a playoff comeback. That was the Detroit Lions a handful of years ago. They almost made it. So
Mm-hmm.
one more game for Lamar, maybe that'll change it. You never know. We'll see. Um, but as we continue to go through here, Sunday afternoon's games. Okay, I put this game as an Arizona win, thinking Kyler would be playing. Kyler was not playing. Jacoby Brissett was playing, and then the Cardinals still almost won. So I was almost really smart. I was almost really smart. The Colts end up hanging on 31-27. That's not the story of this game. The story of this game is that the Cardinals offense did the exact same thing they've done with and without Kyler, and then the Colts defense just fell apart. Fell apart entirely. I know they were missing Charvarius Ward, which is a big missing piece on that defensive group, but they allowed 27 points to a backup quarterback who hasn't, I don't think, started a game in 2 years. So it's a
I
little
think so.
concerning. It's a little concerning. I don't. I know a lot of people are going to use this game to be like, oh well, look, Jacoby Brissett does exactly what Kyler does. I just want to preface this because I know you would say something like this because you're not a Kyler believer. Uh, but I would say Jacoby does a good job at managing what the game gives him, but I think the game gave him the amount of points they did. I think Kyler in that game would have won that game just because the Colts defense was trying to give them the win. They were trying to. So, while the Colts offense actually was actually the part of the game that was carrying them this week. I mean, they've been great all season, but they were really carrying them this week. I think the Cardinals just they were less sloppy and they would have actually came out with the win. Plus, I think taking this game as a sample as like, oh well, look, Kyler's not that good of a quarterback is bogus, considering how the other side of the ball, just considering how the other side of the ball played. So, but yeah, Colts take
Um,
31-27 win.
yeah. So obviously, I'm one of the biggest. I kind of was one of the first to pitch that storyline of look how alive the Cardinals look with Jacoby Brissett. They put up the most. I was tied for the most amount of points they put up all year. They put up 27 against Carolina a couple weeks ago, which is a much worse defense than we see with the Colts. And so just seeing Jacoby Brissett come in and deliver life to this Cardinals team, I don't think the issue with Kyler Murray is talent. I'll tell you that. I think he's plenty talented. I think the issue with Kyler Murray is the culture and the locker room building and the energy he brings. I don't think he brings the energy. I honestly don't. And it's interesting because there are other quarterbacks that are similar in that way to Kyler. Think of Jalen Hurts. We don't see him bring a lot of energy to his football team. And remember 2023 when the Eagles fell off a cliff at the end of the year? Who was not pitching change on the sideline? Who was not super vocal and super aggressive to get change done? It was Jalen Hurts, and look how they collapsed. I feel like Kyler Murray has not. He's not the guy you see super vocal on the sidelines, yelling at his teammates, saying, we got to lock in, guys. We got to get this done. He doesn't feel like a leader to me. He just feels like a really good quarterback who is lacking the not necessarily the physical traits, but more of the mental traits that you need in a leader, and your quarterback is your leader. So, and I feel like Jacoby Brissett might have some of those traits that Kyler doesn't. So even though Brissett's not as good, I think he does have some more of the leadership traits. And then you look at the Colts. Almost losing that game is not a great look for them. I think the Colts have a little bit to work on. I'm still not sold on them being Super Bowl contenders or anything. I don't think that's the case quite yet. I would like to see a couple more games where they go up against or even beat really good football teams, kind of like they did with LA, where if Adonai Mitchell doesn't drop the ball, they win that game. So Colts have a little bit of work to do.
I would like to mention on that mental take there. I will say this. I think a lot of the problem too comes from if you look at other quarterbacks in that same echelon as Kyler, like a Jalen Hurts. Kyler Murray has not been given what Jalen Hurts is being given right now, which is what I think is the biggest component to why he gets so much more criticism. Because Kyler Murray is working with, I don't know, a bottom 10 to 15 team on just pure talent in the league, right? Like they're in that range. They're like in the middle to
They're
back
like in
end
the
of the middle,
middle,
the
yeah,
back
in
end
the
of the
middle.
middle. That team is not exactly stacked with talent. Let's put it that way. Um, and I think that the ability that he has to keep them at least competitive in all of these games says a lot about says a lot about him and the team itself than it does anything mentally because they've all their losses have been very close and they've always been scoring about 20 to 25 points. So like it's not like this wasn't like a huge boom week on their offense and Kyler was out. It was just another normal week and just I don't know. That's just I maybe we'll see. I mean, things can change. They're what 2-4 now, so I mean, this is they can fix this. This is turnaroundable, but they are going to need to do it quickly because they are falling down a rapid path of 4 losses in a row, while the Colts are now 5-1 and leading the AFC. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thought it's interesting because we have very different opinions on Kyler, so wanted to talk about that for a moment. You know what else I want to talk about? Carolina Panthers are starting to cook some up over there in Carolina. Okay. Before we actually get into the game real quick, I know both of us have at length before talked about how the Panthers have the future. They can be decent. They can do it. What I didn't think would happen is they'd start the season as slow as they did, and then all of a sudden they kick it into gear and they're beating a top 5 offense in the league. That's not what I thought would happen. So Carolina in at home, fair be it, beats Dallas 30-27 on a late field goal. The NFL is better when Bryce Young's smiling, by the way. Just thought I'd mention that. It's just nice to see him do well. Like I don't know a single person who's like, man, I don't like Bryce Young. I don't think that sentence
Mhm.
has ever been uttered until just now. But yeah, Carolina takes the win 30-27. Their offense looks good. Their defense, per usual, does not look very good, but that's come to be expected of them. So what do you make of that game?
Yeah, I love the Carolina Panthers. As you mentioned earlier, we were talking about them at the beginning of the season. I've been one of the biggest believers that this Carolina Panthers team has something building. The offensive pieces are there. They just need to figure out the defense. The defense is still not great. But I feel like holding an offense like the Cowboys to only 27 points is actually pretty good. That shows improvement. Historically, the Panthers would let up 40 points in a game like this, but they didn't. They stayed close all day and then took over at the end. So the offense is looking better. The defense still has some work to do. Obviously, they're nowhere near where they need to be. There's I think they're still 2 years away, two maybe 3 years away. But the building blocks are there, and then the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what can you really say? They are just great offense, no defense. Couldn't stop anything on Sunday's game. Just could not stop them at all. It was awful. But that's come to be expected. That Cowboys defense is just not good. We're gonna keep going back to that Micah Parsons stat. When he was with the Cowboys and he was on the football field, they had the number one EPA defense. Without him, they had the dead last EPA defense. And so now we're really seeing that come into effect with having a full year with no Micah Parsons. They're the worst defense in the league.
I I almost want to ask you, do you think if I insert you, I don't know who they're playing. Actually, are they playing this coming week? I think they actually have a bye week. Hold on. We'll fact check this real quickly. Um, while I'm looking, I
No, they
don't.
play the
They come in. They
Commanders.
come in. Okay. This is a bad example, but because this is a good run defense, but I'm going to use it anyway. Do you think if I put you in to the NFL game for the against the Cowboys this Sunday, right, against the Commanders, do you think you could rush for 2 first downs, 20 yards, throughout a full 60-minute game? Do you think you could run for 20 yards on
No,
the Cowboys defense? You don't think you
no.
could run for 20 yards?
Oh, I don't
Not
think
up the. You
so.
don't. It doesn't mean like it doesn't have to exactly be up the middle through three 300-pound men. I'm saying like you could go around the outside. However, you get a yard each play, 20 runs. I don't know. You could do it however you need to. But do you think you can get
I
20
might be
yards?
able to. I don't know if I have the conditioning to not get hurt over time. You know what I mean? But it's a good argument. It'll be close. I might get like 19 and a half.
I'll take the over. Yeah, the Cowboys defense is not very good. I think if I was 3 inches taller and NFL trained, I think I could run for 20 yards on that defense.
Oh yeah, if we were trained, yeah, you could definitely
Yeah,
run
if I was
20.
trained, I think I could do it. Um, anyway, Patriots went into New Orleans. They took the win, 25-19, as they should. Okay, this is exactly what I thought we would get from New Orleans, or not New Orleans, from well, actually from both teams. Yeah, I'll say New Orleans. Starting with New Orleans, a team that can play close most weeks will not win most games, but can play close because they have just enough to be competitive. They're not like they're bad, but they're not like missing every single aspect of their team bad. Like they have pieces here and there. And the Patriots, this is a team that can win any week and lose any week. And this is exactly what I thought we'd get. And we got that. I thought they'd lose more than win. I think I'm going to end up being wrong on that, but still my point does stand on how they play. A 6-point win against the Saints, not terrible, but you would wish that they'd score a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean I think the Patriots are a good team. I think they're starting to get a little too overhyped because when you look at their resume, even though I predicted them to beat the Bills, that win is not aging very well. I think we're starting to see some holes in the Buffalo Bills as a football team. And the Patriots, they barely beat the Saints. And sure they controlled a lot of the game, but if a couple plays go differently, the Saints win that game. And now you could say, oh yeah, well a lot of games are decided by one score. If you are a serious contender, like people believe the New England Patriots to be, you should blow out the Saints. Um, and they haven't been able. They were not able to do that. A lot of the Seattle's really the only team that's handled New Orleans when you really think about it. The Bills couldn't handle them. The Patriots, the Cardinals. I mean, the
I also
Saints are
think you
kind of a tough team.
I was gonna say I also think you could chalk that up to how much better the Seattle offense is compared to the. I think that's more of a Seattle offense thing than it is their offense is
Yeah, I
better.
mean, so it's not a. I think the Patriots are there. They're making steps. Obviously, I've been one of the biggest Patriot believers throughout the year, but I'm not. I think at this point the hype is getting too much. I still think there's some work to be done on that team. Still love Drake May though. Drake May is having an
Oh
unbelievable season, literally an
yeah,
MVP candidate. That's not even ridiculous to
he
say.
he won't win it because he's a second-year player, but he should be in discussions for it. So,
hmm In
but
the
yeah,
in the words of Kevin Wildes, he's at the doorstep of destiny right now.
dude,
But
I loved Drake May coming out of college. I remember I had a conversation. I think it was with you and our other friend. We were talking that big draft class, of course, with May and Daniels and Williams. I said that Drake May had the highest ceiling of every player in that draft for quarterbacks. I said his
even more than Caleb Williams.
I said he had a higher ceiling only because Drake May. there's just something about how he plays. Um, like he just has the knack for not losing games that he shouldn't lose, which is a rare trait because a lot of quarterbacks will win games that they shouldn't win, but they'll lose games they shouldn't lose. He just doesn't lose games that he's not supposed to lose, which is really weird.
Mhm.
So, um, I like that quality in quarterbacks that we see. It's very rare. So, it was nice to see that from him. I want to say real quickly, if let's look at the resume of their games real quick and just analyze really who they've beaten. They lost to the Raiders week 1. Then they beat oh my gosh, they beat Miami week 2. Then they lost to Pittsburgh and then they beat I don't remember who their week 4 game was off the top of my head, but I know they then just beat Buffalo and beat New Orleans. And I think their other win was not all too, they beat Carolina. So a bunch of not great defenses or teams in general that they beat. So I need to see a little more victory out of over 500 teams from them. And
Exactly,
the Bills win
100%.
and the
That's what I
Bills win as you
agree.
said, not aging very well. So,
Yeah,
um,
they have work to do. They do have a pretty favorable schedule, so they're not going to have many chances to prove themselves before the playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're making the playoffs. I mean, the
just
AFC
because of
is so
that,
weak.
yeah,
The AFC is just so weak this year. The Ravens are 1-5. They still, I think, have a really good chance of making the playoffs because the wild card seats are just so up for grabs. So there's teams like the Texans are struggling. There's really nobody that's great in the AFC North. The Ravens could still win their division for all we know. I mean, it's just, yeah, not a
never
lot of great stuff happening in the AFC.
never would have thought the NFC would have been the stronger conference this year. That
Yeah, the
surprises me.
NFC is tough.
They look
NFC is
great.
tough.
The whole conference
Yeah.
looks great. But we'll stay in the AFC for a moment. This game's not too much to cover, but I want to mention it, of course, because it happened. Steelers at home win 23-9 against the Browns. I mean, like, okay, I predicted a trap game win. I think you could see my logic. Steelers ended up winning anyway. No harm, no foul. I mean, like, this is a game. If they didn't win, we would have been like, "How did you lose?" And this is a big game. If they did win, we'd just be like, "You were supposed to win." So, I mean, like, nothing crazy here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Steelers did put together a pretty impressive performance. I think putting up 23 on that defense is a pretty good feat. It's not like it's amazing or anything, but we've seen other offenses be completely shut down by Cleveland. And then obviously the defensive side of the ball, which is that's the side of the ball that you expect the Steelers to be good at. It is Pittsburgh Steeler football to be good on the defensive side, and they were great. They held the Browns to 9 points. And early on this year, we've seen the Steelers defense struggle. So if Aaron Rodgers gets it together and DK Metcalf gets together, and they have a good defense, Steelers could be real contenders. I'm still not there yet, because when they play better competition they do end up losing, as we saw with Seattle, and then their other wins are not against great teams. So I still need to see a little bit more out of Pittsburgh.
I heard a rumor that they are looking to trade for an extra receiver because they think they have it this year and they want to go overboard. I've heard that rumor. And
Gosh,
I'm not going to lie to you. If they get another receiver, somebody who's more of a smaller guy, not like DK, somebody who's kind of the opposite, somebody who can run upfield and get Rodgers his deep balls, I actually think they might be a serious contender. Just because that is like I don't know what it is in sports. A guy retiring and having a competitive year just kind of brings out the best in everybody around them because they want to perform better.
mm,
So if the Steelers are really going to use that and capitalize, now is the best time to go get a receiver and be like all in. I've never seen the Steelers go all in and be like, all right, this is what we're doing it. And if we fail, we fail, we restart. That's actually a better sign than them sitting at 500 for another year. So I'm actually happy if they do that. I don't know who they'd get. I've heard a couple names thrown around. I don't want to say anything too soon, but
oh, I
I
mean,
do know I do know a certain AJ Brown that has very
I
good
was about to
trust
say
with
AJ
this
Brown.
team.
I think that might be the move, low key.
AJ Brown and DK Metcalf on the same receiving core might be disgusting. I'm not gonna lie to you. That might be the
Very,
most physical receiving core I've ever seen.
yeah, yeah, very physical.
But we'll
That
we'll
that
talk
could be
about
dead.
that. We'll talk about that when we get closer to November. But that'll be something to look out for. We move into the afternoon, late afternoon games. This game, I called it the toilet bowl. I mean, it was a toilet bowl. It wasn't necessarily a good game. Raiders hang on 20-10. I shouldn't say hang on. They were in control of the game, but um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this game, it was just you want to lose almost. You want a higher draft pick, right? So does this say a better game for the Titans in that regard?
No, I mean for the Tank Bowl, I mean sure you could say the Titans won. I don't think it was I don't think it was fantastic football from either side. Obviously not the Titans; they lost the game. Raiders just looked okay. Geno Smith didn't throw a million picks, so
They won.
they're moving in the right they're moving in the
Shocker.
right direction. Yeah, but like if you're playing the Titans defense, how good can you actually like
Well,
look? Like, yeah, you can put up 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards against the Titans, but what does that really say about you as a
I'm saying
quarterback?
like shocker, he doesn't throw 3 picks and then they finally, don't throw away a game.
Yeah, that too.
So,
That too.
but as a nothing game. I mean, like there's nothing to come out of that game. There's no real substance. I mean, we know what both those teams are. A game that does have some substance. All right, I'm gonna say 3 letters, and you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. MVP.
Bro.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Tampa Bay uh, goes home and they beat San Francisco, which is a big win, actually. I know that the San Francisco 49ers are on a bit of fraud watch for most people. I am included with that group of people who think they're frauds, but they're still a decent team, and that's still a good team to beat on the road, or at home, I should say, for them on the road. Um, so Tampa Bay takes care of business, 30-19. Man, you just gotta be happy seeing Baker Mayfield succeeding, right? Like all of the bust labels he was thrown after his first 2 years, the Johnny Manziel comparisons, the Stephen A. Smith clip that relives rent free in my head of him saying he has more commercials than wins. I mean, like there was there's like
Yeah.
so much. Um, what do you take from the Bucks side of this? Because I feel like from the 49ers side, they lost Fred Warner, which is a big injury now. He's out for I think the year. So the 49ers at this point are just playing on life support. Um uh so like I don't know. That like we kind of know what their defense is going to be, but what do you think of the Bucks?
Yeah, I'm not sure how the 49ers are going to be able to survive. They've lost Nick Bosa. They've lost Fred Warner. Literally, I think as we've mentioned a million times on the show, the only thing keeping that team together right now is CMC and Kyle Shanahan. When those two are together, they win 75% of the time. So, they should come out with a pretty good record, but just I don't know how they're going to be able to stop teams. They have no defensive personnel. I don't know how they still play well. They've had some rookies step up and play some great football, and that's kind of saving their defense right now. And then with the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield's a special player. That's all I can say. He's a special player. For him to have the career, the path that he's had, going to Cleveland, playing good football. He played good at Cleveland. People will try to tell you he didn't play well. He did. And then he had 1 year where he was playing hurt the entire year. He played hurt in 2021, and they took his performance through his injury and said, "This is who Baker Mayfield is." Rather than look at the Baker Mayfield that got the Browns to the playoffs, got them to beat division rivals Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs. They looked at the hurt Baker Mayfield and said, "Nope, we don't want him. We want
Mm.
Deshaun Watson." That's who they chose over Baker Mayfield. It's just unbelievably bad GMing from the Browns. Um, and now Baker's playing unbelievable football at Tampa Bay. And he is not only a MVP candidate, he should be the leading MVP candidate. He had some incredible plays. Did you see that third and long play where he broke a sack, some more potential tackles, reached for the first down, got
Got
it?
it. Yep.
I mean, he puts the team on his back and gets it done. And it's just so impressive for him to do this week after week after week. And he's been playing good for a couple years, but I think there was you were people like me were and probably you as well were still a little skeptical. How good actually is Baker? This year it feels real. I think he truly is a top quarterback, and I was talking about it with maybe you and a few others. I believe that if I were to draft quarterbacks right now, he would be my fourth selection behind obviously Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar.
That's not crazy. I mean, I'm like I'm thinking about that in my head. I'm like, well, Stafford's old and Burrow. I'm assuming because he's injury prone. So I'm assuming just that's who comes up next. So that's a no. That's a fair analysis. I don't know if I would too, but I see where your logic goes with that. I don't know. Baker, I've always thought he was good. I didn't think he'd be this good. I'll be blunt. I didn't think he'd be this good, but I always thought he was decent. So like the last couple years didn't surprise me when he was performing with Tampa, but this year has really caught me by surprise because I was like, whoa, he's just he's not even turning the ball over. Like his big criticism the last couple of years was, oh, he's great. He throws a lot of touchdowns, throws a lot of yards, but dude, he turns over the ball a lot. He's not even turning over the ball now. He's doing what Josh Allen did last year, where he has just completely taken turnovers out of his game and still playing the exact same. And immediately that makes you an MVP candidate. That's exactly what happened, right? So you look at this and you're like, all right, now if this is the season we're gonna continue to get from the Bucks, dare I say, are they Super Bowl favorites? Is that crazy?
Right now,
Is that
right now,
crazy?
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in football.
Is that crazy?
But but I don't think everyone's playing at their best right now.
Kansas
I think
City is.
the Chiefs are getting it going. I still think they have some work to do.
She Rice
The
comes back.
Ravens are hurt. The Bills are not playing well. The Lions are not playing well. So like the Eagles are obviously not playing well. When we start to see these contenders get it together, maybe Tampa Bay will be threatened. But right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL.
Should
So
mention
yes,
should
they are
mention
Super Bowl
Detroit.
favorites.
Detroit is also hurt as well defensively. They're missing, I think, a
Hmm.
handful of defensive pieces. So
Yeah, they're missing some DBs. Yeah.
let's finish up this week here real quick. Green Bay beat Cincinnati 27-18. This game was exactly what you thought it would be. Like a Green
Yeah.
Bay wins by about 9 points. Their defense holds them behind 20. Their score about just under 30. Green Bay wins a game they should have won. Good for them. They somehow lead the division after all that because of their tie. Never knew that
Yeah.
that tie would actually come in helpful for them, but it does.
Hmm.
Um, should have just won that game, guy. How do you still 2 weeks later don't understand how you tie with Dallas,
Yeah, pretty insane.
especially that high scoring? But anyway, Green Bay takes care of business in Lambeau. Uh, let's get to Sunday Night Football real quick. All right, I want to fast forward to one play in particular, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, I want to let you take control here. This play I've heard called all week about how it wasn't. Oh my God, I'm blanking now. You know what I'm talking about, correct? The play
The
towards the
Kelsey
yeah, yeah,
catch.
yeah, yeah. Yes. Did,
Well, so honestly, I've looked at the play and I can see why it would be ruled a catch. Because the ground rules, not the ground rules, but literally the rules of how the ground affects the process of the catch. Those rules have changed so much over the past couple years. Where if a ball can hit the ground, but as long as it's in your hands and in your control, it's still a catch. And so by definition of the ground rules, I do think it was a catch because he had it in his hands, it hit the ground, but from what I saw now, I only looked at it a couple times. I didn't look at it I didn't analyze it, but I don't remember the ball moving. So by rules, it is technically a catch. But the rules about the grounds, whether it can force an incompletion or just kind of, or like how the rule that the ground can't force the fumble. The rules are just so weird when it involves the grass, and I don't understand it. But so that there was obviously a lot of controversy about that. There's controversy about the Jared Goff pre-snap penalty that took a touchdown off the board, which is a lot of people complaining about that, but it's the rules. I would love to see. Look, Detroit went in with some injuries in the secondary, and the Chiefs outplayed them. You can blame the injuries, but what you can't blame is you can't blame the refs. There have been so many people saying that the refs are the reason the Chiefs won this game. They robbed the Lions. The Chiefs had zero penalties. That's what everyone's saying, but I don't see it. The Chiefs are a very sound football team that don't commit a lot of penalties. There were a couple declined penalties as well that people are kind of forgetting about. So it's not like the yellow flag was never thrown for the Chiefs. It just kind of worked out to where none of the penalties they did get really mattered towards the game in a way that Campbell would have accepted them. You know, so I think the Chiefs just went in and played a better football game with a healthier defense.
no, I agree. I think the problem is always going to be that everyone's going to think refs, refs, refs. Sometimes, yes. I mean, we have seen some horrid calls. Let's not turn a blind eye. There has been some bad ones that have favored Kansas City, but this week was not really one of them. Um, I will say real quick my stance on that ground catch rule. I think if a ball hits the ground, it should be immediately ruled dead. I don't think there should be a catch considered for that. unless they literally have it in their like to their chest, it's caught. Like there should not be this movement rule like that. I think that's so gray area, but that's just my opinion. The rule is the rule is. So by that rule, that is a catch. So Kansas City wins 30-17. They move to 3-3, which is a shocking sentence to say. And Detroit falls to 4-2. Um, I don't know. I mean, this game, I predicted Kansas City to go into Arrowhead and win. They did. Not the way I thought they would, but they did, and they scored 30 again. So their offense is starting to pick it up, and they just got Rashee Rice back, so that should be interesting. Um, but you
Yeah,
know what?
Chiefs are scary now. They're very scary.
You know what? You know what else is scary?
What?
Nobody ever wants to get this. I mean,
Oh
do your
no.
thing. Do your thing. Do your thing. It's time for some what do we call it?
It's time for some BTA.
It's time for some BTA, and we both got a game this week. I'll go first here because oh my, I have been waiting to talk about this game. Start my clock for a minute because I might go for 5. The New York Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles 34-17 in New York, and this was a big win, not because the Philadelphia Eagles were some great empire that we got to take down and they were undefeated. No, the reason this is such a good win is because we looked good. We played good football. It has nothing to do with the Eagles. In fact, it's because Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo had like 3 touchdowns. Jackson Dart looked amazing. It was so impressive, and it's so captivating to a New York audience that Russell Wilson went out there for, I think, 1 or 2 plays, and both times that he went out on the field, you could hear the boos echoing throughout the stadium. It was bad. I almost feel bad. I don't, but I almost feel bad for Russell Wilson. I almost feel bad for Russell Wilson. The reason I don't is because he threw the ball right into the ground. So I'm just saying. But I don't know. Good performance from the Giants. The Eagles, however, I don't know what's happening. This has been my critique with them all season, and it has stuck. And I'm being proven right each week that we go through the season because they do not play consistent football, and it is going to haunt them. And it haunted them again. They were up 7, or they were. I think it was 20-17 at halftime, if I'm correct. Cam Scadaboo might have scored late in the second half or first half, and the Eagles had control of this game. Like they wasn't like they were out of this game, but then all of a sudden second half of this game, they're not playing football. Jalen Hurts is throwing to defensive backs. Nobody's catching the football. He's overthrowing his receivers. Coaching looks questionable. They ran tush push 4 times in a row. Dude, you could chalk it up to anything you want, but the Eagles are not playing good football, and they are not playing up to their ability, and they are having really disgruntled players on the sidelines, and it's not a problem I would want to deal with as a Philadelphia manager. But that is my result of the. I'll do the clap for you for once. BTA.
Bro, you gotta put some enthusiasm in it. This is your team, bro. It's your.
BTA. Is that better? There you go.
All right. We'll take it.
Go
But you're
ahead. Go
getting there. We
ahead.
got some work to do. Look, Seattle Seahawks versus Chicago Bears last year. 3 years ago, Indianapolis Colts versus Denver Broncos. You see that? You see what I'm the trend. You see what I'm talking about here, right? I'm talking about games that are
Yeah.
awful, where even though a team won, did anybody really win the football game? No. There was a game this past week where nobody won. Denver Broncos versus New York Jets. The football gods placed an absolute BTA on both teams. Nobody won that football game. Both teams looked awful. In the second half, there was a point where the Denver Broncos had negative passing yards. What are they, the Philadelphia Eagles? That is not normal. The Jets' defense is atrocious. This is not the defense of old. This is a bad defense, and the Broncos could barely put up 13 on them. There was a holding call that got called for a safety. There was just so much bad football in this game. And Broncos fans, are you really sold that Bo Nix is your quarterback of the future? Because I'll tell you what, I'm not. I'm absolutely not sold. Finally get Justin Fields out of New York. He might actually get killed there. Get him out of there. He's taking sacks. He's taking QB hits almost every play. He's under pressure every play. Get him out of there. I never want to. I don't even. You know what? I don't even want to see a quarterback in New York anymore. Just get a running back to take a direct snap every play. No more quarterbacks for the Jets because it was an absolute BTA.
You want the punter to take the snap and just hand it off every play?
That would be better than getting a quarterback killed back there. Just put anybody back there. I don't care.
So okay, I
They're
want to mention
so bad.
I want to mention 2 really quick stats here before we go on the Monday night games. One, I saw a stat: Justin Fields has not thrown an interception all season. Great. Has he thrown a ball all season since week one? Like, I feel like I haven't seen him throw the football since week one. Um, and I love Justin Fields, and I actually don't even think it's his fault. I know this game doesn't look great for him because there was a play he did just literally hold on to the ball instead of throwing it to an open man down the field. But generally, no time to throw the football, always having pressure in his face, and a quarterback cannot develop with a relationship with a team that way, which is basically what you mentioned. It's disgusting. It's genuinely bad football to watch. You had them, I think, winning this game, and they fell to what now, 0-6. So Denver
Yeah,
wins, but they win at what cost? Um,
yeah. They did not win. They put a win in the win column. They
they
did not win.
they look
That's
better
all
on
they did.
paper now. So congrats there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, all right, two more games real quick for this week. I'm gonna try and rush through these because we're short on time. But Buffalo went into Atlanta and took the L. I think you actually predicted this. Am I wrong?
I did not.
Oh,
I
you
had the
didn't?
Bills.
Okay, no. I know somebody. We knew somebody who predicted this game to go Atlanta's way, and they actually did. So, congrats to them. 24-14, they win. This game was dead after this first half. Like, it really did not have nothing happened in the second half of this football game. But Atlanta hangs on. Their defense just looks so good. I don't know what it is. Their defense looks great, except for the 1 week against Carolina. So they've been playing really good football. Penix, whenever he's not throwing the ball over, like turning the ball over, they look great on offense. So I don't know. This team could be scary for at least a wild card game. They could be if they play well, make a divisional game. That's probably their ceiling. But I don't know. They look really good, and I'm glad to see that Atlanta football might be back for the first time in 8 years. 8 years.
Yeah, very
uh,
much.
for Buffalo, I'm sure we have the exact same thought on this. Their defense is just so shaky, and their offensive line as well. Josh Allen can play hero ball, but for how long? Because at some point or another, you need to surround him with pieces to succeed. And I questioned this. I think me and you talked about this off screen at the end of last season. Sean McDermott, is he a problem for Buffalo, or is he an aid for them going into the future? I'm tending to believe that he needs to go if they want to win a Super Bowl, just because I don't think he has what it takes to outcoach some of these other coaches. I simply think he's outmatched by Andy Reid. I know he's not coaching great right now, but I simply think he's outmatched by John Harbaugh, by Jim Harbaugh, by Sean Payton. I think he's outcoached by all these guys. So I think Sean McDermott is a bit of a problem there, but right now he's not the main one. Right now it's definitely the defense, definitely the O line. Things to fix over there in Buffalo, but Atlanta gets a good win.
Um, I look. Josh Allen is usually not to blame when the Buffalo Bills take a loss. He's usually not to blame. I don't think he can be exempt from their Monday night loss. I honestly don't think so. He did not have a good football game. You know, he had some turnovers. He had that one attempted shovel pass where it's just like, make the play. Don't clip farm. Just get the play done. I'm just not seeing good football out of him. He doesn't look 100% focused right now. He didn't look that way in the Patriots game when he had a few turnovers. So just even though the Bills defense is not great, they did hold the Falcons to 24. Like that's not bad. It's not like they're letting the Falcons put up 30 or 40 on them. If your defense holds someone to 24, they don't give you a great chance at winning, but with a quarterback like Josh Allen, you should be able to outscore the Falcons if they only put up 24, and they weren't able to do that. So the Bills' defense was not great, but Josh Allen is not exempt from this one. He needs to play better football if they want to win.
We'll have to see how that goes. I mean, we've always known he's a bit of a rocky quarterback here and there. He plays good and sometimes he plays bad. Um, Looking at the other Monday night game real quickly, Chicago went into Washington and beat Washington. They get revenge from last year. I didn't think that would happen, but 25-24, they ended up winning with a late field goal. I know Bears fans were literally pissing themselves when they saw that the kicker had to walk onto the field. Um,
Jake Moody, oh my
especially
gosh.
Jake
I
Moody.
never want Jake Moody kicking for my team. That's a
um,
recipe for disaster.
But Bears hang on. They win 25-24. They get another win. They move to 3-3, so they're actually in competition for the division now with how the season has gone. Or they're 3-2,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. They're in competition with how the season's gone.
Yep.
Washington, they fall to 3-3 if I'm right. That was sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 3-3.
Um, I don't know. This game doesn't actually tell me all that much. I think this was just exactly how I thought it would be. A defensive game where the defenses at the end of the game kind of forgot to play defense and the offenses kind of just had to do whatever they wanted. But really, the key part of this game, I think Washington would have won, but That was not an intentional joke. Uh, the the
Okay,
J-
I'm okay. Are you
Jade,
sure?
yeah, no, I'm positive. Jaden Daniels goes to hand the ball off. He didn't get a great grab on it off the snap, and then it just the running back didn't get a grab.
Ah, sorry about that, Commanders. I
To
dropped the ball on
to
that one.
to
Anyway,
Terrible. That's
what
terrible.
were you
But
saying?
no, no, yeah. The running back just gets the ball, drops it, and off a bad handoff, and that kind of just set the Bears up in good field position to win this game. I don't have much to say about this game. It kind of just that is exactly what I expected to have happen if the Commanders weren't going to run all over them. So
Yeah, I mean, look, the Bears don't look bad right now. They started off the year 0-2, but they're now riding a 3-game win streak, where they've looked pretty good. But of course, as you mentioned, the game really came down to that fumble. I don't think the loss is incredibly concerning for the Commanders. You'd like to see them beat the Bears more to where a fumble doesn't decide the game like that. But I didn't have super high expectations for the Commanders coming into this year. And so far, they're just kind of right around 500, which is kind of what I expected out of them. I did have them winning around 11 games, but I thought they would in the eye test, they would take a step back, and that's kind of what they've done. They don't look great, but I still think they're a playoff team. I still think they're a tough team to beat, and I think they're going to rebound from this. And then the Bears, as I mentioned, things are looking great. Uh, Caleb Williams is still not playing nowhere near. He's playing nowhere near his best football yet. So I think that's even a better sign for the Bears. They're
Troy
riding a
Aikman,
3-game win streak. Go ahead.
sorry, Troy Aikman. You saying that made me remind me in the booth. Troy Aikman was dogging on Caleb Williams. He is not a Caleb Williams fan.
Yeah. I mean, and look, if the Bears are riding a 3-game win streak and Caleb's not playing his best, so what does that say about the future of that team? I think it shows that it's very bright because
I don't.
Caleb should
I
only
no.
get better
I agree. Caleb is projected to be a great quarterback in the league. Um, we'll see how the Bears continue to perform. I'm not sure if this performance will continue because the Bears are historic for not finishing out seasons, but we'll see. We will see in due time. But you know what else we have to see? We have to see Week 7 of NFL football. We are almost at the halfway point, which is crazy. But we're getting there. So let's look at Week 7 real quick. I'll give you my predictions. I'll let you give me yours then after, real quick. I'm gonna go as quick as possible because do need to get to college real quick.
I regret doing that choking bit. It's really done a number on my respiratory system. I shouldn't have done that.
Do you think that's how John Harbaugh feels? Do you think he's
Yeah,
do you
this
think
is
he's
how
going do you
John
think he's
Harbaugh
going to the
feels on a
hospital
weekly
every week?
basis. This is how he feels. This is how he feels after a playoff loss. Okay.
All right, Week 7 game predictions. Let's go real quick. Pittsburgh's walking into Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati on a trap game. I predicted it last week. I'm predicting it again. This week, I think it's going to really happen though because they're playing Joe
What in
Flacco,
the
not Dylan
world?
Gabriel.
Okay.
So, give me the Bengals. Um, Rams play Jacksonville in basically their second home of London. I'm going to take Jacksonville to win here. They look really good against those middle of the road teams. Um, Vikings are playing
You
at
think
home
the
against
Rams are a middle of the road team?
right now without Puka,
Wow.
without
Okay.
without
Okay.
Puka, yeah,
Hot take, but
without
okay.
Puka, I think they're in the middle of the road team.
Hmm.
Um, Minnesota's playing at home. They're playing against Philadelphia off a bye. Philadelphia's not going to lose 3 in a row. Philadelphia will win this game. They actually need to, and if they don't, there's some serious concerns. New England's going to Tennessee. Um, Patriots will win this game. I don't know how much, but it'll probably be by a lot. Um, Carolina is playing in New York against the Jets. The Panthers are going to win this game, move up to a winning record. So good for Carolina. Everyone's happy to see that. The Jets will fall to 0-7. That's going to be the
Yikes.
story. Dolphins are playing in Cleveland. Give me Cleveland. I think at home against a team that's not great against defense, good defenses, and a team and it's a low-scoring game. I think Cleveland can capitalize on that. So give me the Browns to win this game. Saints play the Bears at Chicago. Give me the Chicago Bears. They should not lose this game. They'll move to 4-2. The Raiders go to Arrowhead, which is definitely the reason why I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. They're going to move up to 4-3. Raiders will fall to 2-5. I think so. I don't think they've had that bye yet,
Yes.
so 2-5. So that'll be the result of that game. Colts are headed to LA to play the Chargers. This will be a decent test for both teams because they're both kind of in that same area right now. I'm going to take the Colts just because the Chargers are still banged up, and the Colts, I think, are getting Trevarius Ward back. So I will take the Colts in this game on the road. The Giants are headed to Mile High playing the Broncos. Hopefully, the Broncos don't put up the same football performance they did last week. I don't think they will. I think they'll get the job done against the Giants, although the Giants will probably play close, um, which will be a nice sentence to ever say. The Cardinals are playing Green Bay. Okay, if this game was in Lambeau, I would be picking the Packers. But because it is in Arizona, I don't know if Kyler's back. I don't actually know if it matters. I don't trust the Green Bay Packers right now. I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals because I
My
don't see a
gosh.
world that they lose five in a row. That'd be crazy. That'd be insane. So give me the Cardinals. Um, Commanders go to Dallas. They play the Cowboys. Give me the Washington Commanders, but by a field goal. I think Dallas could easily win this game just because of how both teams are playing right now. Um, Falcons are going to San Francisco on Sunday Night Football. This will actually be a really good game, I think. But San Francisco, as you said, wins 75% of the games that Christian McCaffrey is playing. Give me CMC and the 49ers to win this game at home. Buccaneers play the Lions in Detroit. Oh, this is going to be such a good game. I would pick the Lions in most circumstances, but because the Lions are injury riddled right now, give me Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to 6-1, and then the Texans play Seattle. If this game was in Houston, I'd pick Seattle, but it's in Seattle, and Houston's
Yeah.
a decent enough team where I think they can pull this off. So give me the Texans to beat the Seahawks, and that'll wrap up my Week 7 picks.
All right. I like the picks. My turn now. For Thursday Night Football, I'm going to have the Steelers beating the Bengals. This just feels like a game that Mike Tomlin should get done. Rams and Jags. This is going to be a real test for Matthew Stafford. Let's see how well he can play without Puka at Stafford's old age. And I think they're going to go in and have a pretty good game. I think they are going to take care of the Jags and take that victory. Saints and Bears. I like the Bears in this one. I think they're hot right now, 3 in a row. There is going to be a close game. Saints play everybody close, so it's going to come down to the wire. But I smell some late game Caleb Williams heroics to get it done. Patriots and Titans. Patriots have to win this game, and I think they will. Panthers and Jets. Um, this could be an opportunity for the Jets to get their first win of the year, but I don't quite see it happening. I think the Panthers are going to get it done to move to 4-3. And then Raiders and Chiefs. It's in Arrowhead. I like the Chiefs to get this one done. They have so much momentum right now. They're looking good. Dolphins and Browns. This game doesn't matter, but give me Cleveland in Cleveland to win it. Eagles and Vikings. As you mentioned, it would be very concerning if the Eagles lost 3 in a row. I don't think they do. I think they take care of business, go into Minnesota, pick up a big victory. Giants and Broncos. This is going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a very low scoring game. And I think the Broncos could win it in like a 7-3 type game. It could be ugly. This is a big test for Denver. If they can play well against a pretty good Giants defense and very strong defensive front, then it'll kind of make up for the woes that they had this past weekend. And then we look at the Colts and Chargers. This is the biggest test of the year for the Indianapolis Colts, in my opinion, because you're going against a pretty injured Chargers team. If you can go in, put some pressure on Justin Herbert, force some mistakes, and come out with a victory, the Colts are not. I already said they're a real contender. Then I would be fully convinced that they're a Super Bowl contender this year. That would just be a great look for them to move to 6-1, beating a pretty good team. Where with the injuries the Chargers have, you have to take advantage. Packers and Cardinals. I do think the Cardinals drop 5 in a row. That the culture there is just not good right now. Packers are going to take that win. They need a big win. Commanders and Cowboys. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Cowboys offense is going to keep them in it, but ultimately I think the Commanders are just more well-rounded, and they'll take that victory. Falcons and 49ers. I personally believe that the 49ers are going to start a downslide. I think it's going to. Hey, is my camera off?
Yeah, it did the thing.
All right. Crap. When did it go off?
It did it once before, and then it stopped, and then it just started literally as you started talking about the like transitioning to Cowboys Commanders to Falcons to 49ers.
All right. I'll go back to Packers Cardinals and kind of reset if I can get this to work.
Is that where you took your last pause? Like wherever you took a last pause is where you should do it.
Uh, I think I definitely took a pause after Packers Cardinals. I don't remember, but I'm sure that there's a pause that you can edit it in. I wish. Why is this? All right, I'm gonna reach.
I mean, you're good. I'm just
All right,
gonna. I never stop recording because I'm just gonna crop it out. So,
I'm gonna do Packers Cardinals. All
all
right.
right. Wait.
Uh, Packers going into Arizona. I think the Cardinals are going to drop 5 in a row. Things are just not looking great for them. I don't feel very confident about them, and the Packers need a win. They need a game where they look good, and I think they will look good in Arizona. Commanders and Cowboys. This is going to be a really high scoring game, I believe. I think the Cowboys offense is going to keep them in the game, but overall, I think the Commanders are slightly more well rounded, and they're going to pick up this win, a big win going into Dallas. Falcons and 49ers, I believe that this is the start of the downslide for the 49ers. They've been hanging on by a thread with all these injuries, and I think losing Fred Warner is going to be a huge blow to them. They really have no veteran presence on this defense right now. And so I think the Falcons, who look great right now, are going to go into San Francisco, back-to-back primetime games for the Falcons. I think they're going to get back-to-back primetime wins, which would be a big statement, and they would solidify themselves as a top NFC team. And then on Monday Night Football, we have a doubleheader starting off with the Buccaneers and the Lions. You mentioned that the Lions were hurt. I would argue the Buccaneers are more hurt. There's two very injury riddled teams right now, and so I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game. But I do think the Lions win this one to sort of retake the top spot of the NFC. It's in Detroit. I think this is going to be a tough game for the Bucs. And then Monday Night Football, Texans and Seahawks. A lot of people would say this is an easy game for the Seahawks. The Texans' defense is historically great right now, and Seattle loves dropping games at home. I don't know why, but they just do. I have a feeling the Texans are going to win this one in like a 6-3 type game where it's really low scoring. The defenses come to play and the offenses don't. So I see the Texans winning that one. And so, yeah, those are my Week 7 predictions.
with that being said, we did not leave ourselves much time for college. So you know what? We're in a speed run. So I've never had to do this before. So we're gonna go.
Oh,
We are going to go literally. Quick run through of last week. Quick run through of the power rankings. We'll give our predictions and we'll send you guys on out of here. All right. Looking at last week's game, South Florida beat North Texas. Okay, that was a big win though. Alabama beat Missouri. I think we both had that happening, even though we put that on upset alert. Oh no, actually I picked Missouri. I think I picked Missouri. You know what? I picked Missouri.
I
I think.
picked Missouri. I did as well.
Oh, so then I think we both. Oh, okay. You know what? All right. So we both didn't. Alabama got the win though. Cincinnati beat UCF. That wasn't a ranked game last week, but Cincinnati obviously is now ranked. We'll get to them in a minute. Ohio State beat Illinois. Ole Miss beat Washington State. Notre Dame beat NC State. Again, a bunch of games that these guys should have all won. Georgia Tech beat Virginia Tech. I know you put that game. Did you have Georgia Tech losing?
Yeah, I did. I'm
I
so
was
glad they did. Thank
we're
you.
riding the wave. Uh, Texas beat Oklahoma like we both thought they would because Oklahoma doesn't have their quarterback, and it was actually a much uglier game than I thought. Nebraska beat
They have
Maryland.
this year, but he was banged up.
Oh, they did? Okay, I see. Nebraska beat Maryland. Okay. Indiana beats Oregon in a stunner. That's good for them. We'll get to that in a split second. Um, Tennessee hangs on against Arkansas. Texas A&M beats Florida. Texas Tech beat Kansas. USC beats Michigan, which Michigan's now unranked. Um, Georgia beat Auburn in a 20-10 game. LSU beat South Carolina. BYU beat Arizona, and Utah beat Arizona State. Nothing too crazy this past week. All pretty much normal. I mean, the one upset that everyone considered an upset, Texas beating Oklahoma, we both thought would happen anyway. So nothing crazy there, right?
I want to touch on Indiana, Oregon. This to me was the biggest win that a team has had in college football yet this year. Indiana, nobody, including me and you, thought that Indiana were a real contender this year, right? That they've yet to take a big step. But through great coaching and amazing football that we saw on Saturday, they were able to get it done. I love what the culture they got going on there. They're cooking right now, and that is a huge win to go into Oregon and pick up that win. They're now the number 3 ranked team. That's just I can't even describe how massive that is. They have not only um, put themselves up into one of the top 3 seeds, but they've proven to everyone that they're a real contender. They're going to have to be they will have to be messed with in the playoffs, and if you want to win it, you're going to have to go through them. So that's just a huge statement win, and I was so impressed by Indiana. That's the most impressive win that we've seen this year for any college football team, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I almost forgot to mention Penn State lost again, just in case you guys were curious. We lost to Northwestern.
Yeah, that
So it's rough out here, man. It's rough. Um, sorry. I just have to mention that since obviously. All right, let's look at the rankings really quickly, and then we'll look into our predictions for this week and setting guys out. So Ohio State's still ranked number one. They're not playing like a number one ranked team, but I see why they're one. They will inevitably probably fall to two. I feel like. Miami is the two right now. They are playing like the best team in college, so we'll see how that holds up. Indiana is three, as you just mentioned. A&M is four. Ole Miss is five. One of those teams will drop this week. We will get to that. Um, Alabama is six, just a row of SEC teams. Texas Tech's up to seven, so good for them. Oregon's at eight, Georgia at nine, LSU at 10. They're all in the playoffs right now. Tennessee 11. Okay, so technically, I didn't realize this until I got confirmed to it by a friend. I was under the belief for whatever reason South Florida was an ACC team. No, no, no. They're an AAC team. Meaning, right now, they have the 12th spot in the playoffs. So they are currently a college football playoff team, South Florida are. They're ranked 19. I just wanted to go ahead and say that before I forgot. But actually
wow.
ranked 12 are Georgia Tech, 13 is Notre Dame, 14 Oklahoma, 15 BYU. Nothing too crazy here. Um, Missouri 16, Vandy 17, Virginia 18, as I just mentioned, South Florida. And then USC is up to 20th. Texas is back in the rankings. They're 21st. Memphis still ranked 22nd. Good for Memphis. Utah is 23rd. They look really solid. Cincinnati 24th. And Nebraska is ranked again 25th. Okay. With that being said, anything crazy in those rankings?
No, I mean, I think the rankings look for the most part right. Um, it's interesting to see Texas back up in there. I think Texas has a chance to get themselves right back into the playoffs. Oklahoma was kind of a must-win game for them. If they lost that game, their season would essentially be over. But they got the win, and so Texas is hanging on by a thread, and I think they could still make it.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I think there's more than a chance. I would give Texas around a 30% chance to make the playoffs. I'd
We
say
gotta
there's more than a chance. There's a pretty good shot
we
at
gotta
it.
give all those Texas fans something to look forward to. Uh,
Yeah, it's real hope. This is not delusion. They have a shot.
so looking ahead to this week, Louisville heads to Miami. Spitball it. What do you got? Miami, right? Right. Right. You're not taking Louisville, right?
I do have Miami. I do have
Okay,
Miami.
you're not
I
fake, yeah.
can't.
Right. uh,
I don't even know if it's an upset alert. I don't know if
no, no,
Louisville's good enough.
it's not. It's not. Nebraska's headed to Minnesota. Nebraska should take care of business. Uh,
Yeah, I have Nebraska winning.
LSU's headed to Vanderbilt. This is not even an upset, depending on who wins. Either team could win this game. I'm going LSU. Um, I don't think Vanderbilt is just quite good enough to beat them, but I would not be shocked if Vanderbilt won this game.
Yeah, but for me, Vanderbilt's kind of on fraud alert. I don't think they're a top 25 team. I think LSU takes care of business here. But if Vandy wins, that will definitely solidify themselves as a real threat.
That game could be a very important game for them. Georgia Tech plays Duke. Georgia Tech, we're begging you. You play a bunch of unranked teams. Just don't drop a game that you should not drop. Please.
They're gonna win it. I hope they do win it.
Just
Keep
hang on,
going. Keep
please.
it going.
Please. Georgia Tech will take this W. Oklahoma's headed to South Carolina. I think they'll win this game. Both teams are either have their quarterback out or currently hurt, but I think Material will be playing, so give me Oklahoma. Um,
I disagree. I have South
really?
Carolina winning this one. Oklahoma does not look great right now, and historically over the last couple of years, when they drop one game, they start to drop more. It's just kind of, and you look at the wins that Oklahoma have had. Auburn, you could argue they should have lost that game. Michigan, they did win, but it was a close one. So Oklahoma has yet to look fantastic. Obviously, they just got blown out by Texas. So I don't believe in Oklahoma right now, and I think going into South Carolina, that's going to be a tough SEC loss for them.
Fair enough. No, I can see that, but I'm going to take Oklahoma here. Michigan State's playing Indiana. Upset. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Kidding. I'm kidding. Indiana's going to beat Michigan State. They will take care of business.
Yeah, I
That would be
agree.
crazy. You know the
It would
talk
be.
about field
It'll
storming.
be that'll be heartbreaking for Indiana.
Ole Miss plays Georgia. This is not as close of a game as people are going to make it out to be. Georgia will handle business and beat Ole Miss. It'll be close in the first half, and then
It'll be a
Georgia,
close one. It is Georgia football. It will be close,
but
but they should.
Georgia will take care of business and remind everybody that Ole Miss has been playing everybody close. even the teams that aren't that good. Give me Georgia. Ohio State plays Wisconsin. If Ohio State of all these games lose to Wisconsin,
Pretty awful.
really, all right. Ohio
Upset
State will win.
alert.
Ohio State will win.
No, they're gonna blow them out.
You know what? I am putting this on upset alert this next game, and you know what? I actually am going to take the upset. Give me Arkansas over Texas A&M. Um, I think Arkansas plays all these SEC schools close. Texas A&M, I'm just waiting for that team to lose a game that they should not lose, and this feels like the one. So give me Arkansas over Texas A&M.
Okay. I don't agree. I have A&M winning, but Arkansas is a tough SEC school to beat, so I don't hate the pick. I think it could happen.
Not ridiculous, some may say.
It's not
Uh,
ridiculous.
Me- Memphis is playing UAB. I'm happy that Memphis is ranked. This is a game they should win, and they probably won't move up in the rankings just because they're playing UAB. uh, Texas Tech plays Arizona State. Texas Tech absolutely needs to win this game. They can't afford to lose a game if they want to make the playoffs. Um, so Texas Tech will win this game, though.
I agree.
Washington State's headed to Virginia. Give me Virginia in this game. I don't think Washington State's good enough to beat them, although they were pretty decent last year.
Yeah, Virginia's winning it, I think.
Oregon will beat Rutgers. Texas beats Kentucky. Nothing, right? You're not going to take a. I was saying you're not taking a Kentucky Wildcats upset, are you?
No.
I know a certain someone who'd be very happy if that managed to happen.
I know.
Florida Atlantic is playing South Florida. South Florida should win that game. Okay, this is potentially game of the week. There's another one that rivals it, but Tennessee's walking into Alabama, and okay, I've bet against them for like 2 weeks in a row now. I'm not doing it a third time. Alabama's gonna take care of business against Tennessee. I don't know. I don't trust Tennessee.
It's in Alabama as well. It's a home game for them. I think they're going to pick up the win here. I don't think Tennessee is quite as good. I think they're a little overmatched in this one, so I do see Alabama taking it.
That also might propel them to the lead of the SEC, so we'll see how that goes. USC is playing Notre Dame. This could also be game of the week. This is the other one. I don't think it's an upset, and I don't think it's ridiculous. I'm taking USC.
You know what? That makes two of us.
Oh, really? We're in agreement here.
We are in agreement. We see the upset here. I don't trust Notre Dame. I really never have. Even last year when they made the national championship, I never thought they were going to beat Ohio State. I don't trust Notre Dame. I don't trust Oregon. I don't trust Notre Dame. I think USC is going to take this one.
I'm in agreement. It's not crazy. I actually think USC is playing really solid football right now. I don't think they'll end up making the playoffs, but they're playing really solid. They'll be a ranked team for the rest of the year, most likely. Notre Dame's loss. Sure. Notre Dame's loss here should take them out of the playoff contention. Missouri's playing Auburn. That'll actually be a good game. I could see Auburn winning, but give me Missouri. In this one, they look just a little bit better right now.
Yep, I agree. It'll be a close one, but I think Missouri takes it. Auburn is playing good football right now. They're one of the best unranked teams. They play everybody close. And you could argue that in that Georgia loss last week, they were really screwed over by the refs. So, there's a couple of games here that Auburn has really been not favored when it comes to these calls. And you hate to blame games on the refs. We were talking about it earlier with the Lions and Chiefs. I'm not going to say that they lost because of the refs, but it certainly played a factor.
Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm just looking at the next game. Cincinnati is playing at Oklahoma State. I don't think we've had to clarify it yet, but you are a Oklahoma State fan, so this might we don't do college BTA, but
that's what it is. It's a BTA.
Cincinnati will take care of business. All right, there's the third game that could be game of the week, although I don't think it will be. Utah is playing BYU, two ranked teams. Utah, if they win this game, really helps their case. BYU hasn't beaten anybody great yet, so if they do, this is another good one for them. Give me Utah. I know it's in BYU, but give me Utah. I think they're just a little bit better. They're a better school. BYU looks a little bit wishy-washy, so give me Utah in this game.
I disagree. I have BYU winning this one. I love what they got going on. I just think they're a better team than Utah. It's a home game for them. BYU's been building something the last couple of years. I'm impressed by them. I think they look good. I have them winning that game.
Well, I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree. I don't got much else to say. You have any hot takes before we send them off here? Just anything?
I don't think I have a hot take, honestly. I mean, just look, I don't want to see another game like we saw to the Broncos and Jets. I just want to see good football. I never want to see anything like that again. And no more quarterbacks for the New York Jets. That's my last hot
Here,
take. Just don't get a quarterback
I'll
back
I'll
there.
end this off with a BTA prediction for the first time. I'm gonna
Bro.
predict a BTA game. You wanna know what game I'm
Oh,
predicting to be BTA?
oh no. All right, what is it?
I'm actually predicting a BTA game out of the Chargers and Colts. I don't know who. I technically predicted the Colts, but I'm not confident in that pick. I'm picking the Colts. But whoever wins this game, they're putting BTA. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's my BTA pick. Uh, we'll see if that holds fruition. But with that, thank you guys so much for joining us on this week 7 edition of our football show of Sideline to Speedway. I have been Mekhi Winfrey, joined by Parker Merrey as always, and we will see you guys in next week's show for the close to halfway point in the season.
Yep. Thank you guys.